with folks. Coaching means something. And our entire coaching staff, I wouldn't even say entire coaching staff, but the big pieces, head coach, defense coordinator, special teams coach. That's where we were deficient at. Those were the biggest impediments to the Dallas Cowboys. Plus, we talking about wins and losses or whatever. Our kicker alone responsible for 3 of them. I don't want to make excuses because we talking about Carson versus Dak. But if we talking about the Cowboys not winning the division in general, I think if you had a better kicker, better special teams, and your head coach wasn't incompetent, you can't tell me Dak Prescott ain't a top tier quarterback, especially when he's top 1, 2, 3, and 5, despite all that.
Listen, as far as the coaching goes, I just can't blame coaching on some of the things that I've seen from the Dallas Cowboys.
Sure.
Dak not having not one game-winning drive, not one last year. All he needed was one to win the division. It could have been against anybody.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And I saw a bunch of stars give up on the team too, a bunch of people that y'all already paid.
Why do you think
so
that
I'm
is?
not going to really blame it. Say that again?
Why do you think they gave up?
Jason Garrett. That's why they gave up. But never mind that. Look at the stat. It's only 2 people. Dan Marino, Dak Prescott. Put some respect on his name. Okay, after my last video, man, I had to just get some things off my chest. So I had to record 2. The last video, I couldn't help it. I had to get the thoughts of why the Eagles can't stop talking about us off my chest. With that being said, man, I watched the Lord Brunson versus Voch Lombardi talk. And I got some thoughts about that. For one, respect to both of you brothers. Y'all make some good content. Real good content. I don't have any gripes with that. Definitely, you know what side I'm rooting for, so you know who I rock with, and that's not a debate. But if we're going to be objective, I just want to say, Voch, question, my brother. You broke down some things of like, you know, you were saying that you're not saying necessarily that, or you were saying that, you know, you can feel the way you want to feel when it comes to Dak versus Wentz. I get it. But you had Lord Brunson in a controlled environment and you didn't ask him one question. Well, actually 2 things. One, why didn't you ask Brunson about the fumbles? 48 fumbles in 4 years. Because he loves to throw all kinds of detractions about Dak out, but you got to have him speak to the 48 fumbles. I've heard him speak to the 48 fumbles before, and it was a brush pass. It was like, we got to get him to clean that up. You know, he going to clean that up. It's not going to be a big deal going forward. That's coaching, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then I hear him talk about how coaching is but isn't a big deal. It's confusing. You know, in one breath, he'll big up Doug Peterson and tell me how Doug Peterson's top 3 in the league and how he's the best coach in the world. But then in the second thing, he'll say that Dak Prescott is the reason the game's lost despite the coaching. Well, if you have a coach that's subpar and he can't help elevate you, whether it's emotionally because he's a driving force with his leadership or just with X's and O's because he's a tactician and he can tell you how to attack teams, either way, coaching is extremely important in the NFL, more than any other sport. But with that being said, how could you let him get past a whole, a good 30, 40 minutes and not ask him about these fumbles? Like 48 fumbles. Come on, man. Come on. It's important. Because when you add Carson's fumbles with his interceptions, he has way more turnovers than Dak. And I'm not just talking about the fumbles. I'm talking about the lost fumbles plus the interceptions. When you add those up, Carson Wentz has more turnovers than any other player in the last 4 years. More turnovers. That's a fact. No one has more turnovers than him in the last 4 years. He even has more turnovers than, hold on. Like, listen, man. He has way more turnovers than Dak if you combine the two. So it's convenient how Eagles, content creators, people on TV, Dan Orlovsky, everybody will always harp on Dak with anything. like last year, before this year, was the sacks. And it was Dak has bad anticipation. Dak won't get the ball out. Dak's getting sacked. Then this year, he cleans that up. Like, cleans it completely up. It's not even a topic anymore. They don't give him any props for it. They just move on. But when it comes to Carson, it's like they brush things under the rug. And Voch, I know you know about the fumbles, but you just didn't want to highlight it. And it's funny because I watched them highlight everything bad about Dak Prescott and his game. Like any flaw, they'll find it and they'll like accentuate it. But when it comes to Carson and his, well, what is it? Let me go ahead and look at this. You know what I'm saying? Because I have to, bring some light to this situation. Looking at these stats, 35 interceptions in his 4 years. Amazing. Not really an interception machine. 48 fumbles and 25 lost. 25 lost. So you fumble 48 times, which usually stifles a drive. So, we're going to act like that didn't happen. And then you add the 25 fumbles, and I ain't no mathematician, to the 35 interceptions. That's 60 turnovers. You have 60 turnovers. Carson Wentz is responsible for 60 turnovers in the last 4 years, and no one talks about it. I know it sounds crazy, right? Because he supposed to be like the next, like the legend. Like he's supposed to be right behind Mahomes. Like he shouldn't be in the same breath, with some of these other quarterbacks. He's upper echelon. 60 turnovers, 60. And we're not talking about the other fumbles that he lost, the other 23 that stifled drives. Like, come on, man. Like, seriously. That's a big deal. Like, this is not like a blip. This is a trend. He gonna give it up this year. Last 4 years, fumble-wise. Let's go through it. Let's go through it. First year, 14 fumbles, 7 loss. 2017, he got 9 fumbles, 4 loss. Then the next year, 9 more fumbles, 5 loss. 2019, the year that he changed the game. The whole he didn't have a receiver over 500 yards, which is a stupid ass stat. It's stupid. Like the fact that he didn't want to throw to his receivers is his fault. You can have a receiver go over 500 yards for the season if you complete 2 passes to him as game. Like Alshon Jeffries was 11 yards off? Like you can literally complete 2 passes to any receiver a game. And if you go look at the targets, Carson's just not throwing to his receivers because Carson is tight end centric. That's all he does. He gonna get them tight ends the ball. But I digress. 16 fumbles in 2019 and 9 lost, and no one's talking about it? Because I hear Lord Brunson always, when I watch his channel, always harp on, well, Carson's interceptions last year, Carson had what, 7? That's elite. Carson had 23 turnovers last year. Well, 23, he had, 16 fumbles and 7 loss. So, and he 16 fumbles, 9 loss, and he had 7 interceptions. So what is that? 7 plus 9, that's 16 turnovers. That's more than Dak. But we ain't gonna talk about that. Because when I go to Dak and I look at Dak stuff, it's simple. Yes, last year, Dak had 11 interceptions. I'll give you that. But guess what? Dak only lost 2 fumbles the whole year. 13 turnovers. Is 16 more than 13? Yeah. Oh, and he threw for 30 touchdowns. And then I'll hear, he had 2,000-yard receivers. Well, how did they get 1,000 yards? Because are they the first players I know that can throw the ball and catch it themselves? Oh, that's right. They got thrown to 1,000 because wide receivers are what? A dependent position. So please save me. Please save some of those rebuts. And I already know. The best thing about this is I'm a YouTuber. They got what? I got like 20 followers. So Lord Brunson and Voch Lombardi probably won't even watch this video. And that's cool. I don't need y'all to. You know, I would definitely appreciate Voch watching it. I don't really care if Lord Brunson watches it because, you know, I'm not on his radar. And that's fine. But the best thing about YouTube is it's like opinions. Everybody got a voice. So this is just how I feel about y'all discussion. I respect Carson, and I don't think Carson's trash. But if you're going to shoot at my quarterback all day, best believe I'm shooting back.